Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to present Bruxism in children. The- This includes the introduction, definition, prevalence, classification, etiology, clinical features, diagnosis, management, conclusion, and references. First of all, what is bruxism? It is the word that is derived from the Brahmin that means gnashing of the teeth. It also called as a teeth grinding or teeth clenching. It is most common in children, particularly in the mixed dentition period. Definitions of the bruxism. According to the Miller in 1950, bruxism is the tooth grinding during the sleep. According to the Nadler in 1957, bruxism is the grinding or clenching of the teeth at other time other than the mastication of the food. According to Posselt in 1962, bruxism is the clenching or grinding of the teeth when the patient is neither masticating or swallowing. According to the Ramjaford, 1966, bruxism is the habitual grinding of the teeth when the individual is not chewing or swallowing. According to the Rubina in 1986, bruxism is the in which a non-functional contact of the tooth may include the clenching or gnashing or the tapping of the teeth. According to the Diagnostic and Clinical Research of North America in 1991, bruxism is the involuntary excessive grinding, clenching or rubbing of the teeth during non-functional movements of the masticatory system. According to the Vanders, in 1995, it is the non-functional movement of the mandible with or without an audible sound occurring during the day or night. According to the McDonald in 2004, it is defined as a non-functional grinding or gnashing of the teeth. According to the American Academy of the Orofacial Pain in 1996, it is an involuntary activity of the jaw musculature that is characterized by jaw clenching, pressing, gnashing, and grinding of the teeth while asleep. Now, incidence according to Redding et al. In 1966, there was a 15% of children having history of the bruxism among the 3 to 17 years of the old children. And the male and female predilection among them was same. There was a tooth grinding. Tooth grinding was common among the 25 to 35 years of the adults, and clenching was common among the 45 to 54 years old. Now, incidence of the sleep bruxism among the children in Brazil, Carina et al. Reported that the total of 15.29 percentage had been diagnosed as the bruxism, and among them 46.47 percentage displayed restlessness behavior, and only 10 percentage used the medication. And they reported that there was a positive correlation between the restless behavior and the presence of the sleep bruxism, and no correlation was found between the sleep bruxism and medication. Now, prevalence of the bruxism. Garde JB et al. In 2014 reported that the prevalence of the bruxism was 17.3% among the 6 to 12 years old children. Verma et al. Reported that prevalence of bruxism was 2.6 among the 3 to 6-year-old children. Vishnu P. et al. Reported prevalence of bruxism 2.8. Dull et al. Reported bruxism prevalence of bruxism was 12.8, and Devanchish et al. Reported prevalence of bruxism was 2.6 in 2019. Prevalence of sleep problems in Hong Kong primary school children's a community-based telephonic survey. Daniel et al. Reported in their epidemiological studies that 3,047 children aged 6 to 12 years showed a prevalence of the sleep bruxism of 20.5%. And thus it is believed that the sleep bruxism is common in children, although it is not uncommon in the adults. Current knowledge on awake and sleep bruxism overview. Fumi et al. Reported that the progressive decline was also noted, which was found a linear decrease with the age, with the prevalence of 19 percentage in children ranging from the 3 to 10 years, 13% in adolescent and young adult, and 3% in individual above the 60 years. Now, classification depending upon when it occurs, either in the wake condition or in the sleep condition, or either in the day or in the night. Depending upon that, it can be defined as the awake bruxism, nocturnal bruxism, or the combined bruxism. Now, depending upon the etiology, either it can be primary or secondary. In primary, there is no uh, uh, etiologic factor responsible for the bruxism. It may be idiopathic. In secondary bruxism, it may be secondary to particular disease condition like cerebral palsy or the medicinal products like antipsychotic, patient taking antipsychotic medications and all. Depending upon the motor activity, either it can be tonic, continuous tonic, it can be tonic bruxism or the phasic bruxism. It may be tonic because of the continuous tonic activity of the muscles, or intermittent phasic activity of the muscles in the phasic bruxism. It can be current or past or the present bruxism. The World Health Organization's International Classification of Disease 10th revision does not have any entry the word like bruxism. Instead of bruxism, they listed the bruxism as a tooth grinding under the somatoform disorders. Now, etiology. Etiology, it depends on the patient's frequency, intensity, duration, and age of the patients. Mostly the etiologic factor that local etiologic factor is mostly due to the occlusal discrepancy, and that causes the because of the faulty restoration, that there may be chances of the high point, and that mimic the child to grind their teeth. There may be chances of malocclusion, and there may be the patient's psychological status may be uh, declined because of the ectopic eruption of the teeth, or the irritating calculus, or the periodontitis like conditions. The casual hypothesis, according to the Vanderson, Reyes et al. In 1995, he suggested that malocclusion can initiate the forceful grinding or clenching. Mechanism behind that clenching and grinding was that that occlusal discrepancies that causes the activation of the periodontal mechanoreceptor. When one tries to clench her or his tooth, there was an insensory output, and that causes the activation of the jaw closing muscles, and there was a clenching or grinding of the teeth occurs. Now, systemic factors that includes the chronic infection, intestinal parasital infection, CNS disturbances like epilepsy, cerebral palsy, nutritional deficiency, initial period of the pubertal growth spurt, particularly in the girls, peak in boys, peak level of the in the boys, endocrine disorder like hyperthyroidism, and GIT disturbance like food allergy, uh, chronic abdominal distress that causes the enzymatic imbalance. Mostly, these all conditions related to the psychological status of the patient, that to cause the stress, responsible for the stress, in which the mostly the in hyper this condition makes the child in hyperkinetic uh, children, and that causes the increased level of the histamine, and it causes the activation of this agent that is responsible, this receptor, and that is responsible for the bruxism. Now, nutritional deficiency, pantothenic acid deficiency. Usually, the pantothenic acid is responsible for the controlled motor activity. But in the deficiency of B5, that is pantothenic acid, it causes the uncontrolled muscular activities and may lead to the bruxism. In case of calcium deficiency, it causes the muscle spasm and involuntary movements of the muscles in the mouth, and that result in the bruxism. In case of magnesium deficiency, it can cause this spasming and and seem to affect the people at night particularly. Now, occupational factors. In case of enthusiastic children's, compulsive overachievers, and competition sports, particularly these type of children have a more concern about their careers or their uh, activity, particularly they are involved in. So there may be chances, if they cannot get their defined result or their target, child may get stressed and starts brushing the teeth. Psychological factors, it's the most dominant factor and is the manifestation of the personality disorder. And there was a positive correlation between the tooth grinding and aggression and conscious or unconscious anxiety. Now, emotional factors. Children that are highly irritable have a more concern about their activity, and particularly habits like thumb sucking and nail biting. Genetic factors, that children of the bruxing parents have higher incidence of bruxism. Uh, if the parents have higher incidence of the bruxism, the child may have chances of the bruxism. According to the Soxman et al. In 2013, numerous contributory factors have been suggested, that such as allergy, upper respiratory tract obstruction, emotional stress, fatigue, malocclusion, and neurologic disabilities. Community-based study of the sleep bruxism during early childhood, Salvatore et al. They suggested that almost 40% of the preschoolers and 50% of the first graders brux at least one night a week. And in preschoolers, bruxism was associated with internalizing behavior such as anxiety, depression, and withdrawal of the any things he is concerned about. Um, Children who brugs are also more likely to have reported health problems such as ear infection, frequent colds or flu, allergies, and constant rhinitis. Bruxism may be a sign of other medical or behavioral problems. Now, occurrence of bruxism in sample of Brazilian children with cerebral palsy suggested that bruxism was detected in 69.4% of the children, and in 4 to 5 years of old children, the rate of fear facet was small, and the children with athetosis and spastic tetraplegia had higher rate of the bruxism than the other all other type of cerebral palsy. Gastroesophageal reflux and asthma in children, a systematic review that gastroesophageal reflex asthma that is associated with the bruxism in the children. Gastric reflex may be gastric reflex may be suspected with a scalloped margin. There is a clinical significance between the gastric esophageal reflex, wearing of the teeth, and bruxer teeth, in which if the patient is having gastric reflex, there is a scalloped margin at the gingival level because of the higher acidic level in the saliva. And in case of the bruxer, there may be flat appearance of the occlusal surfaces of the primary molars. Now, case report, a 6-year-old boy having the medical history of the persistent chronic respiratory problems and because of the allergy. And his mother reported that he is highly excitable. They have a history of living in the violent area where shootings frequently occurred, and her child usually become apprehensive after these incidents. Here we can see this child having severe attrition in the upper front teeth, and first primary molars, and lower first and primary molars. Now signs and symptoms. It depends on the frequency, where continuous whether child is brushing his or her teeth continuously or in between. There may be chances of noise during the teeth grinding, the dental wear involving one or more teeth. Complaints about child may complain about the pain and masticatory muscles weakness. Occasional headache and migraines can be suspected because of the continuous activation of the temporalis muscles. There may be increased sensitivity to cold or heat because of the attrition of the teeth and removal of the enamel or dentin. There may be chances of the hypertrophy of the masticatory muscles like masseter and temporalis. Because of the continuous bruxing, there may be crepitation of the joint. We can palpate when the child tries to open or close. And the signs of the wound can be found on the tongue, that is indentation we can found. And there may be chances of linea alba along with the biting plane. Now clinical features. There are various features that affecting teeth, muscles, TMJ, and headache and others. Now effects on teeth. Usually teeth related to the bruxism are dull on percussion, uh, uh, having dull sound on percussion, and soreness to biting. And there is a occlusal, where we can see this in figure. There is a occlusal in the posterior teeth and incisor valve in the anterior teeth. There may be increased sensitivity due to this wear, and atypical facet we can see in this molar region. There may be chances of PDL widening. Here in radiograph, we can see there is a PDL widening, and continuous bruxism may lead to the fracture of root crown or restoration, or the faulty restoration. There may be chances of pulp exposure if the heavy bruxism child is having heavy bruxism, and continuous bruxism may lead to the wear of the enamel, dentin, and pulp, and makes the pulp exposed. And continuous bruxism, chronic, it may lead to the pathway for the bacterial invasion, and it may lead to the abscess. Occlusal surface is one below the gingival level. It creates the spacing in between the teeth, and causes the food infection. And there may be chances of the tooth mobility and causes the because of the occlusal trauma. Ghirki et al. Reported that the long-term untreated bruxism can erode the tooth enamel, dentin, and expose of the pulp of nerves and vessels. Not only does this compromise the integrity of the teeth, but it can cause intense pain. So we also have to look for that child is having intense pain and having bruxism. So then we should treat accordingly. Now effects on muscles. Excessive muscle use in the bruxism causes the hypertrophy of the facial muscles, particularly the masseter muscle. And long-term bruxism means chronic bruxism have a square appearance, square jaw appearance. Here we can see square jaw appearance. Muscle fatigue. There may be chances of the muscle fatigue when childs wake up and experience the locking of the jaw, and tenderness of the muscle jaw on palpation. There may be muscular incoordination and the facial pain patient has. Effects on TMJ. Mandible is driven distally due to the stretch muscle, particularly to the retracted muscles because of the temporalis or the lateral pterygoid. Noise in the joint because of the head condyle that rides over the posterior thickened portion of the articular disc. And there may be chances of the clicking and crepitus in the joint and jaw lock. Locked jaw causes the restricted movement of the mandible and difficult in chewing. There may be chances of the luxation in particularly severe type of bruxism, and it may lead to the degenerative changes in the condyle, and in that case the condyle shortens and chin resets. Now, facial pain and headache. Pain in case of bruxism may be dull, moderate to severe. It can be intermittent or constant. It may accompany during the chewing, biting, yawning, or speaking. It may be referred to the maxilla or mandible, from the maxilla and mandible to the neck and ear region. Facial pain that occurs because of the excessive fluid that are oozed out from the intracellular matrix into the muscular tissue, and that exerts the mechanical pressure on the receptor, causing the pain. Now, prevalence and predictive factors of the sleep bruxism in children with or without cognitive impairment. The study's aim was to identify the prevalence and factors associated with the clinical manifestation of SB in children with or without cognitive impairment. And the results showed that in group 1, that is without cognitive impairment, have malocclusion of 23% of the children have malocclusion, and 25% of children with Down syndrome have bruxism, and 25 and same as for the cerebral palsy. The sucking habit, posterior crossbite, and tooth wear facet were identified as being directly associated with the clinical manifestation of the bruxism. Now, diagnosis. Diagnosis for the perfect diagnosis for the bruxism, we have to take proper history, in which we have to ask the children for the proper familial background, whether their parents are clenching or not, or the we have to ask for the children's behavior, like whether child is over anxious or the hyperactive. Then we also ask the parents whether the child is clenching his or her teeth at night or not, because it makes, or usually it makes the noise at night. And in clinical examination, we have to check for the occlusal, particularly in clinical and occlusal examination, we have to check for the occlusion, particularly if there is a class 2 or a class 3, or the posterior crossbite or the anterior crossbite, we have to correct them, uh, because the all condition may lead to the habitual grinding condition and wear the teeth. There may be chances of pain sensitivity, so we have to ask for the children that he or she is having pain or sensitivity or any type of discomfort. Electromyography, it is the technology that is concerned with the electric activity of the muscles, and that shows the on the electromyograph, in which if the child is having bruxism, then there is increased electrical activity showed on the electrograph. According to the International Classification of the Sleep Disorder 2005, the patient or the relative are aware of the tooth grinding noises during the night period. And we also have to ask for the abnormal dental wear, presence of the jaw comfort, jaw fatigue or pain, muscular pain, that is arousal in the morning, signs of muscle hypertrophy. Now management, that includes the first of all we have to rule out the psychological etiology of the child. Psychological analysis and appropriate treatment by clinical psychologists should be performed. Usually we have to ask the child and as well as the parents for the current status of the child's mind and their activity in the school as well, school and home as well. And we should try to relieve that stress factors so that we can make the child relaxed and reduce the clenching. If it is not possible, then we can also get consultation from the psychologist, and in which he can suggest he can get the auto suggestion and hypnosis, where the patient becomes conscious of nervous habit, in which a child is supposed to make aware about his or her habit and understand the possible consequences due to the habit. Now relaxing exercise and physiotherapy, that includes the relaxing exercise like massage, heat, acupressure for relaxation. Usually it does not cure the bruxism, but it should be used only to support the other forms of therapy. Now, elimination of the orofacial pain and discomfort that lowers the muscular tonic activity and reduce the trigger zones responsible for the bruxism. We have to go for the occlusal therapy, in which we can adjust the faulty restorative high points or the any type of occlusal disturbances. We can adjust that type occlusal disturbances, and we also can go for coronoplasty, in which there is a mechanical removal of the tooth structure. Supracontax can be done that hindered the functional tooth movement. Usually what happens that if there is a high points in the functional region, child, it provokes the child that to grind particularly in that region, and it pressurize the PDL and causes the continuous dull aching pain. The restorative therapy in case of particularly higher severe type of cases, if there is a chance high greater involvement of the tooth, and the fracture of the tooth occurs, or the one of the cusp fractures, then we should go for the inlay or onlay type of restorative therapy. We also can give the anterior bite plane to erupt the anterior bite plate, posterior bite plate, and mouth guards or spleens. In anterior bite planes, here it helps to it promotes the over eruption of the posterior tooth just by contacting the lower anterior teeth, and avoiding the contact in the posterior region that makes the over eruption of the posterior teeth. And it also provides the here there is a because of the height was reduced because of the over bruxing or the because of the bruxing of the teeth. So eruption over eruption of the teeth is indicated, so we can give in that case anterior bite plate. And posterior bite plate that can be given in the anterior bruxer, in which the child tries to brux anterior teeth. There here bite plate is given posteriorly, in which it makes the over eruption of the anterior teeth, and that avoids the contact between the upper and lower incisors. And mouth guards and split that covers the whole teeth in case of particularly involved more than one two teeth involved. Shepard et al. Recommended the construction of the anterior bite plane that allows the continued eruption of the posterior teeth if they have been abraded by the habit. The effects of the hard and soft occlusal splints on the noctural bruxism, JP et al. Suggested that the mouth guard can be these are the different synonyms of the mouth guards, that are splints, occlusal bite guards, bruxism appliance, bite plate, night guard, and occlusal devices. And they suggested that the hard splints are to be more effective in reducing the bruxism activity than the soft splints. Now, pharmacological treatment. Tranquilizers like hydroxyzine, 25 milligram before bedtime for 15 days should be advised for the severe bruxism. Ethyl chloride for the relief of the pain in the TMJ area, and injection of the LA into the TMJ can be given. The muscle relaxant like the methocarbol can be given into the TMJ or the muscles directly. Biofeedback mechanism. Usually, it is based on the principle that bruxer can unlearn their activity when the stimulus makes them aware of their aversive jaw muscle activity. Means whenever child makes child become conscious about their activity, he tries to stop his behavior like bruxism. Particularly in the awake patients, it can be trained to control their jaw muscle activity through the auditory or visual feedback form from a surface of electromyocardiogram. And for sleep bruxism, auditory, electrical, vibratory, even taste stimuli can be used for the feedback. Now, sleep feedback, in which sound alarm system is used and activated the electromyograph so increase the activity of the muscular muscles, activates the alarm. In usually what happens in bruxism, that there is a tensed muscles due to the increased muscular activity, so there is increased electrical activity, and that is recorded to the electromyograph. And tension, there is a predetermined level they have set in their system. If the child tries to brush their teeth and there is increased activity of beyond the level, then there is activation of the alarm. And again the child returns his relaxed state, and electrical activity reaches its predetermined level, and that causes leads to the alarm off. Particularly to prevent the waking to the others sleeping besides them, they suggested that the system is connected to the earphone, and whenever child brushes the teeth, it directly listen on the listen only the child. Others cannot be disturbed by this system. This alarm can be either turned off manually or by the vacant browser, or turned off automatically when the sleeper's facial muscles relax. Now, a test-based approach to prevent the bruxism by Nisani et al. 2000, in which there is a electromyograph that monitor the muscular activity during the sleep, and it is particularly given in the chronic bruxer. Sorry. Here we can see the safe liquid is inserted and sealed into the small bilaterally sleeved polyethylene capsule. This is the polyethylene capsule, and two capsules that are attached to the simple dental appliance. Here, this type of two capsule that is attached to the dental appliance, and securely places them between the upper and lower pack teeth. Here, whenever child attempts to brush, one or both capsule get ruptured, and the liquid inside this capsule released into the mouth, and that leads to the conscious attention to stop the teeth clenching to the children. Now, nutritional supplements. Magnesium deficient diet usually causes teeth clenching, and magnesium supplements we can give the child beet, banana, or potatoes. And if not possible, then we can give the child 25 milligram and 100 milligram for the adults, 25 milligram for the children for 5 weeks. Management of the sleep bruxism in children, Mutia et al. They reported one case report of a 5-year-old boy that is reported to the dental clinic in Indonesia by his mother. His mother revealed that the child has gnashing activity at night since last 1 year, and he clenched his teeth every night. Although the mother also described that he was prone to anxiety, and no previous dental treatment was reported. There was no medical history for the child. On intraoral examination that showed that child is in a primary dentition stage, and no malocclusion or mouth opening limitation or any other clinical signs of the TMJ dysfunction. There was a pronounced wear observed in the 5'3", 5'2", 6'3", 7'3", 8'2", and 8'3". There was no history in either the either one tooth or the temporomandibular joint. No patient does not have history of pain. On radiographic examination, they confirmed that absence of injury to the supporting tissue. So, treatment plan suggested by them was health education first.
Charmi, you can
Yes,
start.
sir. Yes, sir. In treatment plan, they suggested health education, in which they had psychological consultation with the psychiatrist, and promoted the child not to drugs, in which they also concerned about the talked about their feelings. They promoted their more talk with their parents to share their feelings, to relieve their stress. And even at night, before uh, before sleep, they advised to bath to relax the child. uh, then appliance therapy, they suggested a placement of hard soft protection bite plate that is 1.8 mm thick on the mandibular arch for the use at night only. Here we can see this is the occlusal guard. Things that they have given. Usually it is available in hard and soft form. Hard that is from made up of the acrylic resin, and soft that is from the polyvinyl resin. And they showed here they used the hard and soft protection bite plate, and follow-up visit were scheduled once every 2 months to monitor the tooth wear, the eruption of the permanent teeth, and bone growth. The child's mother also reported the reduction of the grinding at night after the 6 months. Thus, I would like to conclude that oral habit like bruxism, it is the parafunctional oromotor habit that is with the high prevalence in the children, particularly in the mixed dentition phase when the primary teeth shed off and eruption of the permanent teeth occurs. That makes the child the psychological because of the psychological irritation that makes the child to brush their teeth. So we have to concern we should go for a psychological consultation to make the child relax, by promoting the more outdoor activities, and the other problems what that make him anger, or the which activity that makes him more anxious. Or we can also go for first of all we have to do psychological consult, and that is followed by the restorative treatment, that is correction of the faulty restoration, uh, or if the child is heavy bruxer, then we can also give the zirconia crown in the anterior teeth, and metal crown in the posterior teeth region. Also we can give the occlusal bite guard. Usually the bite guards can protect only the teeth, but not stop the habit. So it can be used as supportive therapy. Um, these are my references. Thank you.